Well guys, I hope you hear me well. I will continue with this podcast. So we talked about the concept of price, especially price action, and therefore volatility and its relationship with volumes and liquidity. So we have seen that by definition the basic postulate was that the volumes would precede price movements in the sense that they had an impact on those prices, and that in fact so it was these motivations of volume, finally those decisions rather than volume, that make transactions that would have an impact on price. It was also seen that liquidity could also influence prices and that prices in return influenced volume, etc. You will say that it is beautiful, but what is technically done? So let's go back a little into the details. I check if I have noise. I'm at the hotel bar and it's a bit noisy in the arena. So to go into the details, what to ask yourself as a question, I think. And the second reflection I would like to bring here is to know how to actually look at the impact. Look at the impact of the change on prices and see what happens next. That's because we can measure the impact. That, you can do it if you have the tools or if you have the reading. If you have the habit of reading a gold notebook or tape or footprint, this kind of thing. It is easy to measure the impact of a volume on a price. Now, what is the question? It is to know what I am. Once I see, for example, that there is a buyer volume, let's imagine, there is a buyer volume that presents itself, so from the buy market order, quantity X, it presents itself. It has a big impact on the price. Imagine, there are 5 contracts that come up, it moves 10, there is a big impact on the price. So it's called a slippage, and it's called a slippage that's positive, that is, the guy, he wants to buy for example at 100, he ran at 105. So it pays more than expected. There is a positive impact on prices. The question that follows, we as a trader, is we going to sell a little more expensive, or is it the opposite? We will sell this thing by saying, well, there we get to an excess, it is done, it will fall back. And it is true that it is a very important reflection, because finally, as I said just before, that it is technically feasible, but it is not always obvious. Honestly, I admit that exploiting the data of a booklet of orders humanly is not even obvious, that even tools are not good to avoid exploiting data, because one is even this type at a certain rate to the 100 is still a simple one, so at least it is a simple level. So it is more obvious that it is done, but it is not good to avoid data because one is a type of price that is even at a certain level. All there is technical analysis, all that, good, all the indicators we all have from our favorite brokers, all that anyway are based on one and only thing, prices relative to time, so we will say price and volatility, which is already not bad at all. But then, here, the question that remains, when we are technically able to measure what is happening in terms of impact, so that is, the volume side relative to the price, when we can already measure this, what is not bad? Will we follow the impact by saying goodbye? Okay, it is a fault that opens when I say it is a fault, that is to say it is not expensive to raise the price. If we take the example again, for example, imagine that there are 5 market order buy that invest and that have a big impact on the price, that you have to go up 10. You say that buy is good, it is not expensive to raise the price, so it is expensive. We buy, okay? Where is the reverse reasoning? This is a question that remains. The answer I have in relation to this, finally an element of answer I have in relation to this, is, and I think you can all check by yourself, you take a movement, a price movement, and I think you have all these tools, you take a volume profile tool, that is, a tool that will draw a volume profile, so prices relative to volume. I knew you all that the market profile, volume profile, you take a volume profile tool and you track the profile, you track the volume profile from the bottom to the top of a movement, and you draw the profile. We can do in the series, so in a lot of things you draw the profile, so from top to bottom or from bottom to top, depends on the exact sense of movement. But there we talk about a movement, you pull the profile from there where the profile is in the high profile, and you say that you want to buy a piece in the Sarah. We can do in a lot of things, you draw the profile is often seen that it is all up there. That is, the guy gets executed, the largest amount gets executed at the top, at the top of the range. The guy who wants to buy, if he gets sleeping the figure, sorry my expression, not to say if he gets sleeping the mouth, he finds himself, the guy who wanted to buy at 100, he finds himself executed at 110. He wanted to buy 5. The first was executed at 100, the second at 103. The third at 107, and the last 2 at 110. And so it has an average return price at 109, 110, no matter, but all that to say that the larger volume, and that we see when studying.